So let us ask the higher self, if I may, is the young man connected with the higher self as should be with a fully integrated person? No. Okay. Right, so now we need to understand why that connection is not fully integrated.
Okay, so Rachel's saying it's a 30% connection, therefore a 70% disconnection, basically.
Okay. Now, would the guide be willing to allow us to help in any way we can to re-establish that connection?
So the guy, so Rachel's basically agreeing that anything we do will only be allowed to be positive, obviously.
Of course.
So I was just making that kind of acknowledgement, really.
Okay, so if there's only a 30% integrity of the self with the higher self, there's a 70% fragmentation, shall we say. Would the higher self be able to help us re-establish that integration to 100%? And if so, what would the higher self advise? Can the higher self see the cause of that fragmentation?
Yeah, the higher self can. So it's saying it's early childhood trauma that then led to a complete withdrawal from a spiritual aspect from itself, effectively. So the child endured some type of emotional trauma that was so strong to the child at the time that it then effectively kind of withdrew back into itself, and by doing so it's kind of broken that connection, or that full connection to its higher being, if you like.
Okay, so now we need to be able to distinguish what kind of psychological mechanism took place as a defence to this trauma. Did the soul create as a personality, or was it a thought form created?
Well, a friend, apparently. So it's created a friend, if you like.
Okay, good.
As opposed to, so I'm seeing like the connection to the soul itself, and then it's created this kind of, almost like children have these kind of friends that you can't see.
Right.
So it's created a friend that it communicates and talks to, which is a sub-personality of itself.
Yes.
And that has kind of, by the virtue of doing that, it's kind of encouraged this inward type of personality from a physical aspect.
Good. And what you're saying makes a lot of sense, because this happens to a lot of children.
Yeah.
They have their imaginary
Yes.
friends.
Yeah.
So the imaginary friend is created by the self in order to accompany the self.
Yeah, it's fear-based.
Okay.
So it's saying that the emotional trauma created, the fear that was created was at such a level that this friend became the kind of nurturing part of the self, effectively.
Okay. Right, so what is important now is how we recognise this created friend and ask it how we can help it, him, her, whatever identity it has. So can we ask the higher self, would it be possible to communicate with this created friend?
Yeah, so I've just started to do it, actually. So the created friend has taken on all of the fear aspects.
Okay.
So when the child starts to feel fear, the friend effectively takes over control at that point, and the fear is sort of impregnated into that personality, so the child doesn't have to suffer in the way that it had been.
Okay, so how does this created friend feel about that?
Well, the created friend is happy that it has a purpose, effectively.
Okay.
So it's saying that it likes to be with the core personality because it has a definitive job to do in that manner.
Okay. So let us ask the higher self now, now that we understand that this created friend has a purpose and is happy to fulfill that purpose, will it continue to be needed to fulfill that purpose at the stage of life that the person is now?
Yeah, okay, so it's saying it hasn't been required for quite a long time,
Right.
but it thinks of itself as a separate entity,
Well, of course
even though it's...
it is.
Yeah,
It is a
yeah.
separate entity. Yeah. So my next question now is: this created friend, would it, as a separate entity, what would it? Where would it like to be if it had free will, which it does? Where does it choose?
So it only wants to be with the core personality, and
Okay.
it sees it as a helpful part of that core personality, basically.
So would it be helpful if it became more integrated with that core personality? Let's ask the higher self that question.
So the higher self is providing a big yes, that it would
Okay.
be very beneficial for the physical person to have the fragmented parts joined together.
Okay. Now, we were given a percentage earlier by the higher self, suggesting that it was that the core personality was only 30%, had 30% integrity, meaning integration, and 70% was not integrated. So with this created part coming into full integration, what proportion would it add?
So it's saying that would add about 40%.
About 40?
40, yeah, 40.
40.
So not the complete.
Not the complete. Okay. Well then that leaves us with a proportion still to work on, doesn't it? So let us deal with this created part first. So is there anything that needs to be done in order to facilitate the full integration of this created friend?
No, so Rachel's saying that the higher self and Rachel can provide that integration. The core personality just needs to accept that that needs to happen, and effectively the sub-personality, which is the fear aspect, is actually agreeing that it would feel more whole by being joined.
Okay.
So it's saying that it's also missing part of its personality.
Good. Oh, right. Okay, good. So, does anyone have any objections or reservations about this process?
No, I think it's been agreed that that would be
Okay.
advantageous.
So if there's nothing preventing it and everyone is in agreement, can we initiate the integration of that?
Yeah, so Rachel's going to do that.
Excellent. Thank you, Rachel, and thank you, higher self. So whilst we're sitting here waiting for that to be done, we are left with a proportion that is still not fully integrated. Let us ask the higher self, or Rachel, if that remaining fragmentation can be identified.
Okay, so I've just been asking the question as you were talking about it. So the remaining aspect apparently is parts of the personality that's been effectively given away through deceit to negative entities.
Really? How do we get them back?